The fact that you chose to be on this page, and the fact that you're seeking for knowledge, you're seeking for healing, you're seeking for support, it shows that you really need to take things intentionally. There are so many couples that don't seek for help until things become so severe and sometimes very chronic. 25% of couples don't do that. And I want to just let you know that your spouse is not your enemy. Regardless of what has happened in your marriage, your relationship, the silent treatment, the withdrawal, the betrayal, the hurt, the list can go on and on. I want to let you know that the enemy isn't your spouse. Think about this. When you met your spouse, and when you chose your spouse, and when you guys tied the knot, the idea was not to make your spouse an enemy. Regardless of the challenges, regardless of all you guys have been through for the past couple of months, couple of years together, and at this time, it looks like your spouse is your enemy. I don't want you to avoid the real enemy here. Because if you don't identify the real enemy behind what is going on right now in your relationship, you might be pointing finger at your spouse that they are the enemy. And I know you never married an enemy. Otherwise, you wouldn't even do that in the first place. As a marriage coach, I know that the enemy isn't our spouses, but the enemy is the mindset behind our spouses. The enemies are the patterns. They are the unhealed traumas that they carry. The enemies are lack of knowledge. The enemy are those things that do not allow you or your spouse to truly transform to become the best version of themselves on a daily basis in order to make your relationship work. And I'm happy you are here. From my understanding, the first enemy is mindset. And when I mean mindset, I'm talking about fixed mindset. That's the enemy. Where you don't see any way out. And when you believe that everything that you're doing is fixed, it's not dynamic. You just believe that your behavior, your attitude, your character, and everything you do right now towards your marriage, towards your relationship is fixed. And as a result of that, you don't want to do anything different. And your relationship is suffering. Think about this. If you were to change the mindset that you have right now, do you think things might change in your relationship? This belief system, this set of mentality that you have, repeatedly, you can see the pattern in the relationship. Your spouse have been talking about this. Or you know that this is not the best version of you to make the relationship become strong, stable, and satisfying. You want harmony. You want connection. You want love. You want peace. You want unity. You want togetherness. You want partnership. But you're getting the opposite. So don't you think that even though you desire something great, something amazing, but there are some fundamental things that needs to change in you if you want things to be different? Whether you're trying to save your marriage by yourself or both of you are trying to save it together, the mindset fundamentally need to shift, need to change. Every marriage, every relationship, regardless of the stage they are in, is a product of mindset. It's a product of belief system. So one of the enemies in your relationship right now is fixed mindset. And you can start doing something about it right now if you choose to. Are you aware that the cost of fixed thinking and the cost of having the same mindset create about 67% of communication breakdown in the relationship? It creates about 45% of emotional disconnection. Now, this is where it gets a bit interesting. 78% of repeated conflict in the relationship is due to fixed thinking. See why just changing your mindset, just upgrading your belief system could, could change the dynamics in your relationship. And this is why you need to take action today. Enemy number 2 is unforgiveness. Unforgiveness isn't just about you don't want to let go. Unforgiveness poisons you. It messes up your peace. It messes up your life. It creates a lot of problems for you. So I know that what they did isn't great. I know that what you are holding on to is really hurtful. As long as you continue to hold on to unforgiveness, you will remain trapped in that same bubble of confusion, of frustration, of irritation, and lack of love. So you need to do whatever you can to ensure that you let go. Otherwise, nothing is going to change. Enemy number 3 is the blame game. This is where you don't take responsibility about anything that has happened in the relationship. Sometimes the blamer thinks they're invincible. And sometimes they use blame just to gain control over the whole situation and the whole relationship and to put the other blamee in a difficult place. Blaming your spouse is the enemy. You might be thinking, I'm justified based on my blame. But in fact, you're blaming your spouse. How far has that helped you? Has your relationship changed? Is it better now? So blaming your spouse is a waste of energy. It's a waste of time. As adults, it's important for us to take responsibility when things happen. It takes two to tango, they say. So whatever happens in the relationship, I want you to know in one way or the other, you are involved. It might not be directly, it might be indirectly. So this is why you need to reflect. You need to look inward. Before you blame, look at yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, what's my contribution to all this? What exactly did I do to bring this relationship to this place right now? When you ask questions like this, you are shifting your attention from finger pointing, fault finding, to looking inside, because that might just be where the solution lies. When you use phrases that are very demeaning and very unappreciative, it hurts your spouse. You never do this. You always do this. At the end of the day, you're just blaming them. At the end of the day, you're just attacking them. Nothing is going to happen. Or you're waiting for until they do this, that's when I will do this. Have you forgotten that saying? Mahatma Gandhi said, if you want to see any change, let it start with you first. So be the change you want to see. And I can tell you, if you do that, things might just begin to shift in the right direction in your relationship. Enemy number 4 is laziness and lack of discipline. There are couples that just don't want to do anything. They just don't want personal growth. They don't want to improve. They don't want to challenge all the weaknesses in their lives. Even when things are obvious in their behavior, in their mannerism, in their character, in their conduct, in the way they communicate, in the way they behave, that they need some upgrade. They need to check certain things in their personality, but they don't care. And they use the word, this is the way I was. This is how I am. And this is what you married. But this behavior is hurting the relationship. It's hurting the relationship. So you have to change your ways. It's sad to see couples very, very lazy, perhaps in seeking for help, in going for classes, in doing courses, in going for counseling, for support. They just bury themselves in their houses. They withdraw from people because they just don't want to do any work. Marriage is a skill-based institution. Marriage thrives when both of you are growing, changing, evolving, and pursuing each other from a place of simplicity, love, and kindness. So if you're lazy to do the work to make your relationship change, evolve, and be better, then why are you expecting something to be different? You can't continue doing something that you know is not producing any result or will never produce any result, but you're just wishing that one day something could just change. So if you want things to happen in your marriage, if you want things to change in your relationship, then laziness needs to give way. And you need to put the intentionality in, you need to put the effort in, and you need to do what is required to build the relationship and marriage that is strong, stable, and satisfying. The last enemy is isolation. It's sad when I see one spouse want help and the other spouse don't. They speak about this often, but unfortunately, one spouse that was a little bit excited, they wanted something to change. They know that they lack harmony, they lack unity, they lack peace. They know they're not entirely satisfied within the relationship. And the other one that is so complacent, carefree attitude, doesn't want to do anything, will begin to influence the one that actually want to seek help. At the end of the day, both of them become miserable, frustrated, irritated, upset, angry, and tired of the relationship that was supposed to blossom. Why? Because they are in isolation. They are not seeking for any remedy. And any chance to seek for help, they avoid it. They walk away. They don't invest in their relationship. How do you think your relationship is going to be different or better? Someone say isolation is the devil's playground. Your mind is going to be wandering. Everything about your spouse will begin to irritate you. At the end of the day, instead of working on your mind, your mindset, your change, your transformation, you're just brooding everything your spouse does. Because both of you are just in that bubble where there is no help, there is no support. And before you realize, secrecy begins to come in, and sometimes they begin to do dodgy stuff. They start living separate lives. Everybody begin to go based on their agendas because of isolation. This is not the way to go. If you really want change, if you want this relationship to come out from this stage of toxicity, of pain, of being controlled by trauma, and your relationship is not as exciting like you've envisioned it to be, then you need to do something different. You can't continue sitting in the fence and expect change to happen. You need to take action. You're on this page. There are so many courses that have been designed to address specific issues in your relationship. Take a look at them on the VIP online programs. There are workshops that we host every month. Check it out. Okay. There are transformational programs that you can get yourself involved in. We have communities, Love Without Drama community, that can really, really change the way you think, the way you do relationship. So don't sit back and just assume that your relationship is just going to change. Now, some couples, they just believe that, well, because we're in love, things are going to work well. Well, how is it working out for you? Love is not enough. There are skills you need to build. And sometimes many of us need to heal. We are just bleeding on each other at home. We are struggling to acknowledge and realize some of the dynamics of what this wrong programming from our childhood, from our past relationships, from the disappointment, from the frustrations, and from things that we have gone through in the past. And now those things are defining the way we behave, the way we speak, the way we talk, because we don't even understand that we're being wired to act like this. There are solutions for these things. There are ways to manage these things. So you cannot continue to remain silent while your relationship is deteriorating, while your relationship is being destroyed. We can save this marriage again, but that would depend if you're ready to work, if you're ready to do what it takes. My name is Chindah Chindah, and I help couples to discover their relationship differences, their personality differences, so they can navigate through all pain points, ups and downs that are resulted due to their living together in order to build strong, stable, and satisfying marriage. I can't wait to see you on the inside. Enjoy your day.